prevention of health and preventive causes. Sir, please address this gathering.
Good afternoon, everybody. Respected chairperson, respected senior Ayurveda professionals sitting here in the auditorium, and lovers of Ayurveda. I am here to speak something on the health promotion and the preventive care. Given me the title topic, Facts and Myths. So I will try to do to the best possible justice to the title, and we shall see that what exactly we arrive at. Can I have someone person, because the laptop is there to operate, to go for the next slide. Thank you, thank you. Have a next slide, please. So, when we talk about the promotion of the health or preventive aspects, rather whatever the ideologies that we have perceived, and we use the terminologies which are in English, which actually we have borrowed from the textbooks of modern medical. This varies with the concept or the clinical approach. When we say health, probably actually we do not know what we are referring as health. This is the first ever problem. When we say promotion, therefore, when we do not know health, then we think, what is promotion of health? This is where the problem actually arrives at. With this perspective, let us try to get into the Ayurveda aspects. So, what is the fact here today at present? So, considering the aspect of human health, this is probably arriving the next days, the priority area in the modern medical research. Hitherto, this priority was not there in the modern medical field. So, this is where probably the Ayurveda can contribute to a major extent. We are very much aware that how there was a shift in the definition even by the WHO in the morning also, even in the keynote address also, Professor R.S. Singh told that probably the existing situation compelled the medical organization to reconsider the definition of health, but still they cannot reach into the depth. At least we have understood that it is not just an absence of illness. There are so many other things we need to consider regarding the definition of health. Can I have the next slide? So, this shift in the paradigm, this is where the transition period that we are coming into. This shift, how it has been occurring hitherto, we see the medical world has been largely focusing on communicable illnesses and exploring preventive vaccines for the same. This is how we began with the dialogue in the modern medical aspects. The target with communicable diseases, there was a huge medical industry looking for antibiotic productions. And these international industries, we know that they are holding their very good hands in the commerce. They are holding very good hand on the governments, and they know how to do research and how to sell their products. Unfortunately, this was the major area in the development of modern medicine for the few decades. And the next, though much not has been done regarding the prevention of specific illness, that is what the modern medicine probably explores as a preventing care. This was now, huge money is still spent for research finding cure for non-communicable disease. This is a second step where the modern medical science is staggering that there is a huge number of illnesses which are coming up. They are non-communicable diseases. You may talk about plague, you may talk about tuberculosis, you may talk about other things. Probably these antibiotic industries, they have done some job and they claim the success in the medical health is because of them. But when it comes to the non-communicable illnesses, there is a problem still prevailing. Huge money is being spent in so many aspects, but still they have not arrived at the fruitful results. Non-communicable diseases, like for example, neurodegenerations are there, coronary heart illnesses are there. So nothing much could be done in this field. Now the new doors in the research have opened up into better dimensions like, for example, neuronal plasticity. We have apoptosis, stem cell therapy. Now here, the dimension of clinical approach of modern medical science is compelled to make a shift. The approach to the health has to be focused from a different angle. We may not be knowing the major amounts around the globe. Millions of dollars, euros have been spent to find out the neuronal plasticity, the newest concepts, and apoptosis, anti-apoptic chemicals, and also to some extent the stem cell therapy. These are the totally new dimensions, what they had as in the history as finding the antibiotics. Now the emphasis for quality of life in the fourth stage is yet to be surfaced. We have just heard about the term quality of life. There is a sense, even from the WHO in the medical world, there is some importance for the word quality of life, but still nothing could be done. Nothing much is known regarding life or health. So quality of life is a new introduction now. No doubt this issue has already taken it down the attention of modern medical science. Next slide, please. What is this quality of life as such? Though there are not many efficient tools to measure health, we have got so much scientific advancement in the modern medical field, laboratories to identify illnesses very successfully. We do not have sufficient tools, introduce parameters to assess health of an individual. This is where there is a lot of lacking, because the concept of health itself is not very clear from the modern medical perspectives. So there are not many tools introduced. Apparently, this is just whatever they claim as we are improving the quality of life. This is not really the improving the quality of life, just through relying upon like curing illnesses or giving vaccinations, etc. This is not improving the quality of life. This issue might have compelled now why the WHO has to revise its definition on life. Next slide, please. Now, why this has happened? This is a shift in the awareness, the medical awareness. We are today, since from the morning, there are many speakers try to emphasize on this. We are lacking the health awareness. This is where we have the drawback. Neither the scientists haven't created the tools towards this. Health awareness is a very important step into understanding the health. So we have got the health, as the definition says, it is not just devoid of illness. Health is not just devoid of illness. There is something else that one should feel pleasant, feel happy living, comfortable living. One must have proper biological impulses in the body, feeling of hunger time to time. These are the biological signals. Being aware of this biological signals, this is very important for one person to say that I am healthy. Unfortunately, these are the small things of day-to-day life that we are not aware. In my clinical experience, not only here in India, when I travel abroad, make some consultations, when you ask somebody that, do you have good appetite? They say, yes, I am fine. I take food time to time. So when a person replies that I take food time to time, it is damn sure that he never experienced hunger in his life. Looking a well-to-do person, physically healthy, but this is the down-to-earth fact that the persons never realize what is hunger, the first basic biological impulse in the body. This is very much important for us to define health. This is just one example I gave you. Ayurveda gives emphasis on this. If you want to say you are healthy, it is not that you have everything and you have a good body weight or you eat regularly. No, does nowhere defines health. This is where we have to look into. Next slide, please. So why such an awareness is needed? Why are we now trying to talk about this health and health awareness? A person who has got a better health awareness, it has inverse relationship with health risks. A person does not have this awareness of health, he is most often prone to illnesses. As morning, appreciably, that Honorable Governor put the facts that we are unaware of the health awareness, therefore you advise the children to change the lifestyle. They think that you are just an adamant to the culture and therefore you want to advise. But when you make them learn themselves, look, this shift has happened because your lifestyle is like this. So this is one of the points. And when somebody does not have the health awareness, he does not understand what changes have taken in the body unless until some report from the laboratory investigation says, oh, you have this illness. There is a report that having malignancy. Till then, nobody knows. I was very happy. There was nothing to me. Something has come from the laboratory. The laboratory says that you are sick. This is only because of lack of health awareness. So it has got inverse relationship, health risk. Therefore, it is important. Health awareness is important. And in addition, health awareness has got direct relationship with life expectancy, longevity. How the health awareness, knowing about what is life, what is living, this itself is enough. This itself is longevity. This is what Ayurveda says in Charaka Samhita. The first ever chapter in Sutrasthana is Dirgham Jiviti Madhyayam Vyakyasyama, where he has explained rasayanas, the recipes in the first chapter. No, sir. He has just told what is Ayurveda and how Ayurveda has come. Knowing Ayurveda, awareness of health itself leads to longevity. This is the direct relationship of health awareness and the life expectancy. This is very much important. This is what we are missing. When we say preventive health care, talking about promotion, go and make research, find a better drug, bring the herb extracts, phytochemicals. This is a wrong approach. Probably we are doing for Ayurveda. Knowing Ayurveda is much more important. The third one is health awareness promotes happiness and contentment in life. This is what Ayurveda targets on. This happiness and contentment of life is a basic thing. Because the person who is not aware of what he is, what are his talents, what is his prakriti, for what his talents are meant for, he is always confused. He thinks that coming into an electronic software field, he can earn a lot of money. Make a lot of money, have property, have vehicle. In the evening, when he sets in his life period, he or she may not be content. So this is an important issue in Ayurveda. I always appreciate Trisheshaniya Adhyaya in Charaka Samhita, the basic important tropes of life. If you don't identify, you have already come with the projects. You are unaware of the projects which are pending to you. When you are born, there are already projects pending behind you. You do not identify the project for what your prakriti is meant for. It is designed for your project, and you will not be fulfilling your tropes, yashanas. And project is always pending, and the end in the evening of your life, you are not content and you are not happy. The reason is not known. So this is the holistic manner how it helps. Awareness is an important issue. This is the only way that Ayurveda can help in the modern society. Next slide, please. So why? This is an important contribution, I always say, an important contribution Ayurveda to modern medical world. What is that? Ayurveda says health is not a stable phenomenon. How beautiful it is. Nobody has said it. If you make a person healthy, make all the investigation in the laboratories, fit it into all the normal values, whatever the minerals, vitamins, and including everything, but this is not going to be the same tomorrow. It is the best, very highly scientific, rational concept of Ayurveda. Health is not a stable phenomenon. Health always is being bombarded every second and minute of your life. It has been influenced from within, factors from within, and the factors from outside, environment. It is a disturbed pendulum. I use this particular schematic, I borrowed it from the biophysics people. They say all living systems are disturbed pendulum. They always swing. They never stop. If there is a stable, then the organism is dead. It is always swinging because the nature, Mother Nature, Prakriti, never likes stability. Mother Nature is always changing. Prakriti is always changing, shifting. It never likes stagnation. It is said for every second, every molecules of our body is changing. We are not aware of this change. We say, you ask the person, maybe age 25 or 50. He says, no, I am the same. See, this feeling of yourself is very much important. Are you aware that your body has changed? And when it has changed, due to what it has changed? This is the awareness which is needed. Ayurveda says health is not a stable phenomenon. I just put it, not going into this, the ball of the pendulum is the Tridosha ball. It always swings, but swinging has a range which we call as, depending upon the Prakriti, it can swing to that range. If it goes beyond the range, then it is called Amaya. This is what Ayurveda says. There are so many influential factors like Rutus and so many factors which influences. So health definitely needs to be taken care of. It is not just devoid of illness. So it needs to be taken care of. Next slide, please. So I told it is always being influential. There is a constant dialogue going on with your external environment also. The situation in the environment, the climatic changes, the forest and the cities, everything is influencing your life. There are schools which make deeper study. I have just taken an excerpt how ecosystem in the environment is closely connected with the life of a human being. Rather, he is a part of the ecosystem. This is where we miss. Our body, as such, our life, is a part of the ecosystem. We are not separate. Heart is a system. Cardiovascular is a system. However, heart and cardiovascular system, they are not really independent. They are interdependent. They are part of one ecosystem. So human life and the environment, they are one part. They are interdependent. This is a very beautiful thing. We'll go how Ayurveda puts it and how it helps in the promotion. Next slide. So we need, Ayurveda talks about the health maintenance and the balance. So there are a lot of explanations, guidance. You people are aware of it. I will not go into that with the Rutucharyas and Dinacharyas. So something pointing on the general health, which is more that Ayurveda talks about. Next slide, please. Definitely, we are very responsible when we buy a 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 20, 30 lakh car. We always take care of the car and we pay the companies. We puke out heavy money for annual maintenance contract. But we never thought that our body also needs annual maintenance contract. This is what Ayurveda says. Your body needs when you spend money, you know that you need a maintenance. You go for periodical services, change the oil, everything. But we never know that this body machine also needs this. This is what Ayurveda makes an emphasis. Next slide, please. Before going how Ayurveda speaks, the nature of Ayurveda, I always say the another scientific aspect of Ayurveda is nowhere you find an elusive explanation, definition of what is life. We don't have in the modern medicine, not even in any other traditional systems, that's such an elusive definition of what is life. It is only you find in Ayurveda. It's such a comprehensive definition. I have just put a program. It is not just the 4 components of Sharira, Mana, Indriya and Atma, but a dialogue, but an understanding between these 4 components. This is important. The dialogue is life. Sanyoga is life. Just a combination of Atma, Sharira, Mana is not life. But a true dialogue, which is going between all the 4, that is life. This is a very beautiful definition of life. Can I have a next slide, please? Next slide, please. This is another beauty of Ayurveda. We have in the morning also some of our guests mentioned. While understanding Ayurveda, most of the scholars have tendency to lean towards one aspect of Ayurveda. So there are so many authors and books written. Either they think Ayurveda is a very beautiful spiritual science, or somebody says, no, without yoga, Ayurveda is not complete. Or, for example, we are purely in the medical profession, we think that treating the illness is everything for us, for example. So there is always an imbalance in understanding Ayurveda. The beauty of Ayurveda is the balance itself. When it defines life, including spirituality in one hand, another way, including the physical body, it balances between these two. Ayurveda is a philosophy which balances between materialistic world, not ignoring the materialistic world, and also the world which is non-material. You can neither ignore the spirituality, you can nor ignore the body as it is nothing, as it is non-permanence. This is the beauty, and with this it defines what is permanency of life, what is the impermanency, nitya and anitya. I will not discuss too much on this. This is going to have an impact on what is health promotion. Next slide, please. So, facts of health, in precise what we have, health, first thing is what health is not a stable phenomena. That means it is going to change always. You have to take care. You should be aware of health. Second, health fluctuates and is influenced by many intrinsic and extrinsic factors. You should be aware of those factors which are influencing. If you really want to talk in health promotion prevention by virtue of Ayurveda, then you should be aware. Then, thus health needs maintenance. You cannot sit tight in one place that I am not doing anything. If I do something, then only it disturbs. No, I am fine. I am eating and sleeping. No, this is not possible. Ayurveda says health needs maintenance. Next slide, please. One of the best things in the health promotion that we have, which is the first priority in the Chikitsa of Ayurveda. Chikitsa of Ayurveda is not just treating an illness, not curing an illness. Rather, the first point, the first chapter of the Chikitsa itself is connected with Rasayana, Swasthasya Urjaskaram. The word Urjaskara is itself health promotion. What does it mean? What we exactly mean? Okay, health is defined in Ayurveda. That means that is all? No, they can't. There is a chance. Whatever it is there, it is possible that you can improve upon. No doubt it is health. The quality of health can always be improved upon. This is what we are talking about. Quality of health is very much important for Ayurveda. Thus, promotion is always an additional tag with the health program. We are missing this in the National Health Program. What do we mean by the word promotion? The qualities of healthy tissue and working capacity of the systems can be augmented to some extent. It is not to the nth level that you can change. However, to some extent you can improve. There is a limitation. Though you say that the person is healthy, but still you can add something in addition. This is the Urjaskara chikitsa or this is the health promotion. So there could be so many questions and arguments because every body has its own genetic programming and its own genetic limitations. To what extent we can improve, we do not know. For example, we say, because one of the important things that have been discussed in Rasayana Chikitsa therapy that people are trying to compare, because it is a weakness that we always try to compare the latest concept of stem cell therapy, that it makes everything refreshes. Prashasta dhatu, that is one of the definition of Rasayana. So stem cell makes the Prashasta dhatu. So can we do this Urjaskara to an nth level? Probably not. Whatever the caliber within the stem cell will be the limitation. Definitely, probably we can refresh. Like we have the computer, there is a button for the software, probably it is making problem, press the refresh button. So something like this can be adopted. The next slide, please. Then coming to what is prevention conceptually that we have. Prevention of illness is better defined as avoiding the favorable situation for pathology of illness. This is very much important. I am just going on the lines of Samhitas. Ahara vihara pratyanikata, ritu kala pratyanikata. This is very clear. Concept is very clear. What is prevention? That you try to avoid such situations which may exaggerate the doshas in the body. This concept we need to understand. And second, in the second leg of prevention of Ayurveda, building body resistance against the specific illness. This is pratyanika bala. The first is pratyanikata, which is connected with the illness. The second thing is pratyanika bala in the body against specific illness. I have not created the terminologies. I have taken only from the Samhitas. Second point. However, overall improvement in general health also enhances non-specific resistance to the illness. This is the general bala. These are the points where we can exploit and adapt in our clinics. Can I have a next slide, please? However, the concept of bala not to be mistaken into a limited correlating account. This resistance, as we call as bala, could be of two types. One is bala for the onset of illness, vyadhi bala virodhitva, and then we have vyadhi utpada virodhitva, and then vyadhi bala virodhitva. Resistance to the severity of illness. Even the disease onsets, but it does not manifest in its full virulence. This is a very important consideration that modern medicine world has not yet entered. From the perspective of modern medical science, we still prevail with wide complexity regarding this. Like, for example, immunity. The latest word of complexity we have, psycho, neuro, endocrino, immunology. It is so much complex. However, the concept bala is not just related to the immunology. It is much, much beyond immunology that we need to understand. Next slide, please. This bala is relative and it, of course, dependable. Bala is there in the body by birth. It is prakritika bala. This bala becomes influential in due course of time during life and environmental situation. And it can be developed. This is kala krita bala. It changes. Then it is even possible that one can improve bala by way of proper food, habits, and medicaments. Yukti krita bala. We have large areas where we can really put our efforts into. This understanding provides a very ample opportunity for Ayurvedic clinicians if you really start implementing it. Next slide, please. So when I say how, this is just conceptual, theoretical. No, you have to bring everything into a practical situation. I will give few examples. I will not go into the detail. I have already mentioned. For example, Trishul. The company claims that before the viral infection or once get cold, a day or two before you take this Trishul tablet, it helps in the prevention of illness. How much thoughts we regularly give or advise the patient in this manner. Rather, I myself, I do this. Sudarshan Quat, whenever there is a little bit of change in the season, particularly the situation like Jamnagar where I live, there is extreme cold. Now it is prevailing with winter. And in the hot season, there is extreme hot. When there is a shift in the temperature, that is what we consider Ritu Sandhi. I always have the habit of, at least for a few weeks, every day, Sudarshan Kvata, a small dose. I have adapted that this is a prevention for me, that the body does not react. This, not today, for a few decades I have been practicing. When I go back from the university, when I say that we need this, the first thing that my wife gives me before the lunch, and she has told that this is welcome drink. And go home, then one small dose of Sudarshan Kvata. It helps as a preventive. There are so many other things. As Ayurveda says, regular practice of Kshira Sarpira Bhyasaha, it has its own effect. So we must start thinking. Our culture does have so many such informations, but we have been ignoring. I will not mention many of them. Depending upon the local area, there are a lot of such practices are there which has got impact on the prevention and promotion of health. Next slide, please. Why we have been failing to find the truth? Many of us have enthusiasm in the heart. We want to see it. What has happened? Why we are not seeing it? Why we are not practically doing it? Yes. Here are the few tips. Always trying to seek an alternative or supplement to the modern medical approach. This is a major drop for us. Whatever we do, whether in our clinical practice or it is in a research, we are always trying to search an alternative of the path of a modern medical physician. Search prevention in Ayurveda, search for a herb which may be supplemented to polio vaccine. No, this is a wrong approach. This search itself is wrong. This gives a pitfall. Even if you make a research, probably you will not be successful. Lack of practical knowledge or information regarding proper clinical Ayurvedic approach, this is the basic thing. Samhita-based clinical practices, we have forgotten. There are many good practitioners among us, but there is a large difference between the clinical approach in the Samhitas and the present-day practice. We are more trying ourselves to become Rogabhisara Vaidyas than the Pranabhisara Vaidyas. We are talking about life. Ayurveda talks about life. Ayurveda is not just a medical science just to talk on the illness. Though there is a space, however, even Charaka says he is Madhyama. Rogabhisara Vaidya, who makes a perfect diagnosis, he makes a pinpointed prescription. It is very difficult to find, even in the modern medical field today. But still Charaka says he is a Madhyama Varga Vaidya. Who is the best Vaidya? Say Pranabhisara Vaidya, who takes the life of an individual as a whole, not just the illness. That is the best way. So we have lost that clinical approach. That is why, that's the second drawback. Not adopting methods for clinical documentation of cases. This is the present problem. We have no time to make our own follow-ups of what we have done. We have got very poor clinical documentation practice. Even in India, even the modern allopathic doctor, for that purpose I will say, there is a very poor habit of clinical documentation. We must be in a position to say what we have done. Sir, I have treated this case, disc prolapse, and I have treated cancer. Okay, to saying, but we must have proper clinical documentation, not to tell others, just to make ourselves more confident and screening what we have done. Lack of public awareness and acceptability. We are afraid of the public, whether the public accepts this. I'm talking about health promotion. In the morning, the governor said how it is important. Or the Jara, when it is there, our ministers talked. It says there is no treatment in our Jara Avastha. Why? Because the fever, hyperpyrexia is an immune response. The body wants to prepare itself. You should not suppress randomly. Ayurveda says there should not be kashaya. Rather, the kashaya causes the constriction of the srutasas. That is the health, how it flows. So, understanding this concept and then communicating this to the public, that is the public awareness. So when the public awareness is not there, public is not ready to hear you what you are telling. Public is not ready to hear you, the health is important. No, sir, my pain is important, tomorrow I have to go to office. So this is where the thing is entangled, it is very difficult to break. Can I have the next slide? So what are the measures needed now? Just at least we have the Ayush people, probably that will be helpful. First, resensitizing the willing Ayurvedic practitioners. Don't make it a dictum. There are many people thinking in different manners. Somebody has an inclination, heart, call them, arrange, ask certain really positive thinking industries, make the funding, and organize with capable Vaidyas, make them resensitize them towards Ayurveda. They are learning, slowly learning with their practice professors. This is happening. Now from the Ayush, from the RAV, programs have just started Samhita-based clinical practice. Just last week I was in Nashik. The RAV called me, and another one we had attended in Tirupati also. About 4 they have done. Calling the senior professors, telling them, giving the opportunity with the senior Ayurvedic people that how it is possible you reshape your clinical practice so that you'll be more closer to the Samhitas. Resensitizing the Ayurvedic physician is important. Open hall interactive sessions among the Ayurveda professionals without any personal prejudice and preconceptions. This is a major drawback. I say that I take Sudarshan Churna, it is good. I am living healthy. Don't ask my age. I look young because I take Sudarshana. This is wrong. The truth of individual life varies. Ayurveda depends upon variation. Ayurveda believes variation is the truth. It cannot go with subtraction. We cannot argue on this. So we need open hall discussions on whatever experience you have. I say it leads to health promotion. You should be ready to accept and it should be interacted. This is the only way we can develop. Then we have open health camps and awareness program, particularly related to food and lifestyle related to prevention and pollution of environment. Go to the public, not just the camps for the treating illnesses, but for the health promotion and awareness. This we need to do with the Ayurvedic team. Awareness of biodiversity regarding this heritage and cultural diversity in India. This is one of the beautiful aspects. Probably in this field, I have started appreciating it. Last month before, I was in Colombia and Bogota. The only exclusive program arranged with me in the medical faculty in the National University there. It was completely funded by Health Ministry of Colombia. They called me. The topic, you'll be surprised, biodiversity and Ayurveda. I do not know how much government of India or any other government here probably appreciate, even if I say that I will do it freely, that they may give me any opportunity. It is that country, they immediately come, yes, we want this. To whom? To the medical faculty, biodiversity and Ayurveda. Ayurveda has got close connection with biodiversity. You preserve the environment, the wisdom is there. Without that, it is not possible even that you can teach Ayurveda in a closed classrooms. You have to break the walls, then only we can arrive at. And this awareness should go to the public also, how to preserve the biodiversity, cultural diversity. When I say biodiversity, it is only the subject of forest department. No, sir, this is wrong. Start the biodiversity from human life. We have diversities around the globe. We have food diversities. We have cultural diversity. Everything has to do something to your life. This is what Ayurveda speaks. Knowledge of better resources of medications and methods to improve our resource of medicine. We have eluded the resources. Very sad enough that we do not have much resources around us. This knowledge, we should go to the farmers, we go to the village, help them to grow. Give the awareness. Next slide, please. So this is what happened. It is very much important talking on Ayurveda and biodiversity so far health promotion and prevention is concerned. Ayurveda recognizes truth in the natural diversity. Probably Ayurveda is the only existing science came from the ancient which has the caliber to incorporate maximum diversity in finding the facts of life. It will take a lot of time for me to explain this. Most of the science research that we do, implementing the statistics, scissoring the standard deviation and standard error to arrive at the probability to the t-test to prove that the medicine is successful. This is a wrong way. We will not be really very successful in finding the truth of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda needs diversity. It identifies every individual as a diverse individual. That is the truth for Ayurveda. And it is so much incorporative that it can involve maximum diversity, the variations in the Prakriti and Vikritis. So you cannot do that. It defines life with the diversity. Hence, deductive analytical research methods so far conducted cannot yield good results. We have done more than 5 decades. We have Central Council 5 to 6 decades. Nothing would come out to us. The reason is this: the tools adopted are not really good enough to measure the Ayurvedic therapies. Living in natural biodiversity enhances the inbuilt healing wisdom of an individual. This is very much important. You say that you think and you do it. There is no need to think. The body has the language. Really the body knows where to get the healing. It recognizes. You are unaware of the biological signals. So at least to live in the biological environment is a good healer. It imparts natural prevention and promotion of health. Educating the public in preserving the natural environment and the diversity is also the part of the health maintenance for Ayurveda. Next slide, please. So this is in a very precise, not going into anything deep of the concept. From the perspective of the Ayurvedic health promotion and the prevention, I feel first awareness of health is very much important. And with that true edifice foundation, that it is possible that we can progress further. Thank you. I thank the organizers for giving me this ample opportunity.